Altruisn't. I was 20 years old, a sophomore at University of Maryland College Park, enrolled in An Introduction to Shakespeare, when one of my classmates declared, "There's no such thing as altruism. People volunteer to do unpleasant things because it brings them pleasure. People can be forced to do what they don't want. They can be coerced. I mean, getting paid is a form of coercion, right? But the reason somebody does something unpleasant without force or coercion is because they like doing the dirty, unpleasant thing." 20 years later, I have no recollection of what it was in Othello that caused my classmate to make this declaration, but I can assure you that while 20-year-old me was convinced that altruism was as real as gravity, it didn't take very long before I came around to my cynical classmate's way of thinking. We do engage in unpleasant tasks because doing so brings us pleasure. Oh, not the obvious kind of pleasure. Perhaps it's merely the pleasure of a martyr, but pleasure nonetheless. I thought of this, fuming, as I gathered garbage from the ground. It was filthy work. I was angry, but I did it to please myself. My darling Desdemona, wife, declared that we should spend our Sunday hiking and swimming in nearby Falls Lake State Park in Wake Forest, North Carolina. As an added bonus, we went for a half-hour run near home. Run, though slow, was still a lot of work for decrepit me, but I enjoy running, so it wasn't our AM warm-up that got me reminiscing about Iago and crew. It was our easy lake trail hike that had me reviewing my conversation from bygone days concerning the nature of altruism. We brought provisions for a lengthy siege: beach chairs, beach hats, beach umbrella, sandwiches, fruit, iced tea, energy bars, and books to read. We settled into a shady nook 20 feet from the water's edge and read a bit before gathering our camelbacks and heading out on our hike. This was our inaugural trip to Falls Lake, and for our first foray, we took the path of least resistance, a meandering, flattish, 1.5-mile strip that connects the half-dozen shelters and pavilions that North Carolina provides for recreation and leisure along Fall Lake. The lake trail was pleasant, and the sound of people at play in the pavilions reached us before we caught sight of them. This created a little game between the two of us of "what are they doing?" as we encountered parties, church services, and many political rallies on our hike. We also encountered litter along the trail, and as we did, we'd pick it up and carry it to one of the waiting trash cans that accompanied each of the dozen pavilions. Bending over, I sighed as I picked up a Michelob Ultra bottle, stifling words of condemnation concerning humans' inability to care for our environment. I'm unable to stifle my disgust as we round a corner and come upon two turkey vultures picking through a bushel of trash strewn around a barbecue pit. I freeze. "Holy Hannibal's pachyderm," I declare, or words to those effect. "This is disgusting," I add, feeling sick to my stomach. I do not enjoy rifling through food waste, the stench assaulting my olfactory and the slime of decay making the skin of my bare hands crawl. I do not enjoy picking up after cedros, human pigs who cannot cart their own basura 20 feet to a waiting trash receptacle. I don't like any of that, but I do like leaving an outdoor area better than the way I found it. And, hey, let's be honest, feeling morally superior for having done my Boy Scout good deed for the day. Plus, I got a bonus points. A park ranger caught me cleaning up the mess and was very thankful. As I said to him, I may be a pendejo, but I'm not that kind of pendejo. Falls Lake State Park is nice. We'll make the half-hour drive and do further exploring in the future, but let me leave you with two final thoughts. First, Cassio from Shakespeare's Othello. "'Tis my breeding that gives me this bold show of courtesy." And let us close with the immortal words of Woodsy Owl. Give a hoot, don't pollute.